There we go. Hey, fellas.
Hey,
What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
we're live.
Another day.
Yep. Another day, another dollar.
Another wonderful Monday.
Another NFL draft in the books.
That's right. Oh, man. We didn't even decide who's actually starting this off, did we?
Well, being that I won the draft.
Yeah,
I
okay,
mean-
go ahead. Go ahead, start. Yeah.
I think all fan bases that are in this podcast feel like they did pretty well.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty positive.
Mhm.
So I guess we should just start at the draft. There's a lot to get into.
Yeah,
Everybody feels like they're going to win the Super Bowl.
right. Hope has not been dashed yet unless you're the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
God, what the hell was that? You just signed
did you-
Kirk to that like 9-figure contract for 4 years, and then you draft Michael Penix with the number 8 pick. How does that?
Did you
help
guys
your
see
team?
the press conference with the general manager and the head coach?
No, I did not.
Oh,
Mhm.
dude, it's bad.
Yeah.
It looks really bad.
Mhm.
Uh,
I hope he requests a trade. I hope both of them request a trade.
so I heard during the draft, as soon as they were like, "What the hell? What do you think Kirk Cousins has to say about this?" And there was already people like, "I wonder if the Raiders are going to call the Falcons." Damn.
That has to be like the quickest get out of town. Like his chain is still fresh from when they made him his dirty chain.
I mean, he can't be happy. I don't know if there's an official word that he's upset, but I'm sure he can't be happy about it.
Oh yeah.
no.
I mean, that's what was said in the press conference. They were like, "Oh, sounds like Kirk Cousins wasn't too happy about that. What do you have to say?"
Yeah, that just
Their
absolute-
response was literally head nods, Vince.
Yeah, the Falcons gonna Falcon, man. I'm surprised it wasn't like normally you expect the Raiders to sit on their own ball sack, with a confusing draft. pick.
Not this year, buddy.
Not this year though. Not this year. You did good, kid. You did real good. Let's actually, you know what? Let's throw the Raiders up there. Let's talk about your team first, Sam. Picking at number 13, you got Brock Bowers. He fell to you because 6 quarterbacks went in the top 12.
Yeah.
6 of them. Jesus, that's never happened before.
So when his name was announced as the 13th overall pick, I was completely shocked because obviously you're thinking you have Michael Mayer, you think you have the position locked down. But then after it kind of digests, you realize you got a top 6, top 7 talent at number 13. I think now that I've digested it, I would say after about an hour after the pick, I have fully gone the other way. I love the pick. I think it's a great pick that helps you now and in the future.
Yeah.
He's a wide receiver. He's a tight end. He can run. You're going to have it's just a chess piece that you can move around. Watching more of his highlights, he's just a guy that he could catch the ball and he could run the ball. He's a little bit of Kelsey's, a little bit of Laporta, Deebo Samuel. We're seeing across the league that each team has their guy that they can move around and do different things.
Your
And
Swiss
this is,
Army knife. Yeah.
This is a guy that adds to with a core that already has Devontae Adams, a pure number 1 wide receiver. Jacoby Myers, who is also kind of a Swiss Army knife type of player. And then you have a solid tight end in Mike Mayer, and now you're adding this person, and then you have Trey Tucker that can go over the top. Looks pretty good on paper. We'll see what it actually comes out to be, during a game. But I think it's a great pick, great pickup. So I'm all in. I know a lot of Raider fans are upset about it, but I think this is put it behind you, move on. You got a great player, you got a stud, you got a guy that you can win with now and in the future. And as far as the quarterback situation is, the quarterback wasn't there for the Raiders to take, and I'm glad they didn't panic. How many times do you think the Raiders are going to screw the draft up? They didn't screw it up. Like,
Yeah.
they really didn't screw up the draft. They had a really good draft, and some of these players we'll talk about, they got a little later in the draft, but you added starters. I mean, Bowers is going to start. Powers Johnson's going to start. The cornerback Richardson has a chance to like crack the lineup. He looks really athletic. Eichenberg, the linebacker they picked up, he has a shot to get into the linebacker rotation. And then you got Lobby, who looks like another running back who can catch the ball and do different things. So, and one of the biggest highlights is this guy Trey Taylor. He's the cousin to Ed Reed. So he's related to Ed Reed.
Same position as Ed Reed too, safety.
Right. So I think you got some guys that are obviously some projects. That's why they're 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round draft picks. But your first, 3 out of 4 picks, I think you got guys that can contribute right away. And that's what you're, I think, looking for in the draft. So they didn't overreach with the quarterback. And I thought what the general manager said after the draft was, after day one starters, they weren't really going to overextend themselves to get a day 2, day 3 quarterback. So yeah. I kind of agree with them.
Yeah. I mean, why take a project? Oh, go ahead.
Tom Telesco did an amazing job, an amazing, first time at this, first crack at this with the Raiders. And I mean, it's, you and I were speaking over the weekend. It's not that the Chargers didn't have talent, they just didn't have the right coaching to make that talent work. So I think you got a good GM who had a game plan, stuck to the game plan, and the quarterback wasn't available. So you took the best available player. Did the fans maybe edge rusher, maybe they wanted a defensive player? I could get that. I understand that. But Brock Bowers is a generational talent at his position and could play multiple positions. So I think excellent pick.
Yeah, tight end is the toughest to project, I think. One of the toughest to project in general. But when you are looking for someone, you look for athleticism. And Brock Bowers has all of that athleticism. So on paper, he looks like he's going to be a force for years to come, right? I mean, and that's what a lot of these guys do. You expect a lot out of these players. These are the top players in college coming out, right? So, and not everybody's going to work out. Obviously, there's going to be hits and misses up and down the lineup. And so the people that are already saying, oh, this team got an A or this team got an F, let's pump the brakes and let's just, let it play out first before we get to that. I don't want to give anybody A's or F's. All you can really do is say, as far as positioning goes, I mean, Powers Johnson, that's an offensive lineman that you guys needed. You needed cornerback help. You got some safety help as well. You just kind of go by position and just kind of check off the list. Did you get somebody to try to fill in that piece? And, let chips fall where they may, as it is. And I'm kind of excited. The people I think that aren't excited about Brock Bowers, that are Raiders fans, probably weren't even expecting him to be there, so they weren't even focusing on him. Didn't even do the homework.
I think the gripes is that you have Michael Mayer, so why you have him there? Why do you need him? So the speculation is that his injury is worse than what it was to the end of the last season, and I don't think that's really true at all. I think it really came down to you have a guy that's projected to go 6 or 7, and he's at 13. And the way Telesco comes off in his conferences is that he's a human spreadsheet. Trust the spreadsheet. Just obtain the best talent you can. Have the best roster, the best depth that you can. And I said this to Tyler when we were catching up the other day. Is you didn't get the quarterback right now. Imagine if you did move up into the top 3 and you got one of those top 3 quarterbacks. How much would you have to mortgage to move up? And then are you even a Super Bowl contender with a rookie quarterback? So
probably not.
At this point, we're more than a quarterback away. And I feel like some of the theory behind it is if you're competitive next year, you get 10 wins, 11 wins, you sneak into the playoffs, maybe, hopefully. And you see what happens, right? You roll the dice, you see what happens. But if you are a free agent quarterback And all of a sudden, the Raiders have this offense that looks like the only missing piece is a star free agent quarterback away, or a top draft pick away. Is the roster just a quarterback away? And I would say no. Like, the defense is starting to come together, but you have to do it more than a season. Okay, one season, you had one good defensive season. Like, do it again, because it's hard for me to say that defense is fixed, y'all, when it hasn't done it in back-to-back seasons.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, one thing to note too, that the Raiders added depth, like you were saying, Sam. They also signed Michael Gallup to I think it's a 1-year deal. So, hey, look,
mediocre signing of the week.
It could be, but you know what? Injuries happen.
Yeah, it's a veteran guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Take it.
Yeah, he's an NFL caliber receiver, you know. But
and you know what I love about it?
Leagues.
You know what I love about it is that it's talent that's no longer on the Dallas Cowboys. So, strip them for all the parts that they got.
Right. So my dad's in the comments saying, as you all said, the Raiders did well. You know who else did well? The Eagles.
Yes.
Tim,
yes.
let's put the Eagles draft on the board. So, Tyler, talk about your team.
I mean, I'm just convinced that Howie Roseman did a deal with the devil going back to last year, because
it's because Howie's the devil.
I agree. Fully agree. I fully agree. Just like how Brock Bowers fell to you guys as a top pick. I mean, the Eagles acquire arguably one of the top cornerbacks in Kenyon Mitchell from Toledo, who was a top 10 projected player and fell all the way to number 22. So, again, we just get lucky. And then you turn around. We were hoping like Cooper was maybe going to be the guy available. Not only did we get Kenyon Mitchell, but in the second round, we end up getting Cooper as well, too.
Shout out white guy corners.
He's probably going to play safety for us,
We've already seen the memes of him like next to Jackie Robinson, like breaking the color barrier. That's not going to be part of meme of the week, but that does deserve an honorable mention.
But how he addressed what he needed to address. Corner was one of our biggest positions. Yes, we did get Gardner back, who I think arguably is probably going to even have a more solid year this year than he did last year, which is he did phenomenal in Detroit until the playoffs came, and a little bit of talking made him eat crow there in the playoffs there. But we addressed the corner position for the future. We addressed the safety position for the future. Losing Sidney Brown last year to that torn Achilles, that's now in the rearview mirror. Sidney can go get healed up, and we'll have you ready to go and slot you in where we need to. We addressed the linebacker position in our third round pick in Jalix Hunts. I mean, Howie did an excellent job. I did also want to note too, an honorable mention here, since he was signing after the draft here, but I'm sorry, a 5th round pick. I'm sorry, he was a 5th round pick. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. got picked up. His dad was a legendary Eagles fan. I saw a wonderful post online that said
Eagles player, not Eagles fan.
I'm sorry, Eagles player. And I saw a wonderful post online that Trotter had an excellent career with the Eagles, had a son, raised that son. That son eventually gets drafted by the Eagles, all before the Dallas Cowboys have made it to an NFC championship. So, I think we did an excellent job in the draft. We addressed a lot of issues that were glaring issues that fans have been clamoring about getting defensive back help and linebacker help, and we did it, man. I feel good about it. We'll see what happens when they start playing every Sunday here. So
when the Raiders were picking, I definitely thought they were going with Kenyon Mitchell. That's what I think most Raider fans thought. So he's a hell of a player. The cornerback class was really good because the Lions got Arnold. And he's a really good defensive back too. I mean, he is a big dude. So yeah, the defensive backs this year were studs.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you got on the docket here for us, Vince?
All right, so go ahead, Tim. Let's switch it over to the Niners. So the Niners get a wide receiver, Ricky Pearsall, in the first round. A lot of people had other wide receivers available higher up on the list, but obviously the Kyle and like everybody else thought that Pearsall was the guy. He was the best available wide receiver at that point, and He's gonna end up answering a question because it sounds like there's a lot of smoke. Now I'm starting to believe that one of the receivers, either Debo or Brandon Ayuk, are going to be gone at this point. I'm starting to believe that, and Ricky Pearsall is going to basically be able to, step right in and kind of fill that role, hopefully, if he pans out. Then you go back and you answer the quarterback, and you get the lineman Pooney from Kansas, huge mammoth fucking guy. Really excited about that. You get a little running back depth in the 4th round. I love it when Kyle takes a backup running back. It's a guy that if Christian happens to go down for a week or two, he's gonna probably step in and get you 20 fantasy points for your league that week, and then ride off into the sunset, never to be heard from again. Yeah, so I mean, it looks like the Niners mostly tried to hit a lot of the spots. I didn't think they'd go wide receiver quite so early, but they liked Ricky at that spot. They've earned a lot of trust with me. At this point, consistently in the NFC title game or the Super Bowl over the last 5 years. So I'm not gonna really go down. Why'd you pick this guy instead of that guy? Because at this point, they've kind of earned a little bit of trust with me at this point. It's a good point from my dad in the comments too. Pearsall will replace Ray McLeod in the return game as well. So that'll Debo for a little while was doing return game work earlier on in his career as well. So that makes sense. So I feel comfortable with what the Niners did. Obviously, when you're drafting second to last, you're not going to be able to get the number one guy available in each round. You're just kind of seeing what falls to you and then just act accordingly. And there you go. So I'm content with the draft in general for the Niners, and we'll just see how all these guys fit in. They also they added Terrell Owens' son, who's also a wide receiver in the undrafted free agent market as well. Just fun little shit like that. So
yeah,
and Brendan Rice gets drafted by the Chargers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also Gore's son gets picked up by the Bills undrafted as well. But
yep, I mean undrafted.
A lot of legacy.
Oh, and the Raiders signed Gus Bradley's son. He's a quarterback.
Yeah, there's so many legacies. Trouter's kid, Gus Bradley's kid, Gore's kid.
This is kind of fun. Undrafted free agents tend to do a lot better in general now than they ever used to. In part because the draft isn't as big, in terms of number of picks.
Yeah.
So because it used to be 12 rounds, way back when, and now it's 7 rounds. So guys for example, popular villain Tony Romo was an undrafted free agent, right, for the Cowboys, and he ended up having a Pro Bowl level career. He won a couple of games for the Cowboys before failing in the division round. Anytime we can throw shit on the Cowboys
about unsigned undrafted rookie free agents like Brock Purdy, I read that the 49ers picked him because they spoke to his agent and he wasn't going to sign with the 49ers. So they knew that he was not going to come out and sign with them as a free agent. He would probably stay somewhere closer, to where his college team was, so they had to take him. Worked out pretty well.
So far.
So sometimes you hear about these things that teams will move up in a draft to get a player in the 7th round because they don't want to lose them. There's no guarantee they're going to be able to sign them. So
yeah,
I did also.
I was going to just say, if you are a possible 7th round player, I almost wouldn't, if I was in that situation, I almost would not want to get drafted so I could have my choice of where I go,
Absolutely.
I can choose a better situation for me.
Absolutely.
So
I did also forget to mention that the Eagles, they made 9 different trades during the draft, which is the most they've done since any team's done since 1990. And there's just kind of the sentiment that the Eagles are probably going to get dinged for tampering with dealing with Saquon Barkley a little bit too early before free agency kind of opened up. But that being said, Howie has traded in this draft for 9 picks next year in the next NFL draft. So fine. Hit us for a draft pick.
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay.
He's
Yeah.
like, which one you want?
Yeah.
Like peeling them off like ones in a
Yeah,
club, man.
which one you want?
Okay, so I think that covers the draft. I think we did, pretty good, pretty tight. I think we're pretty excited
Yeah, man.
for the upcoming
Yeah,
season.
nobody knows who's going to be a stud or this or that. Everybody can say their guy and that guy and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
But it's just
Now
an
it's time to
exciting time.
fucking do it.
Yeah, it's just an exciting time, and let's see what happens. NFL is a year-round sport, so OTAs are already like next month. Dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
When you say next month is on Wednesday, by the way.
Yeah.
Like May is like what, first week of OTAs?
Yep.
Like every
Yep,
couple of weeks.
OTAs are coming
yeah.
up this week, man. So
So-
now that rookies come in, get their playbooks and all that good stuff.
Hell yeah.
All right. So we do got a couple other NFL notes to talk about. First up, Reggie Bush, former Heisman winner who got his trophy taken away, is getting his trophy back. This news broke basically after we recorded last week, so we didn't get to talk about it. It was taken away in 2010 due to impermissible benefits he received during his time at USC. The rules have now since changed. Name, image, and likeness rules let players get a lot more money, and I don't even remember what he was officially dinged for.
He
It
took
was
like
something-
some
Getting
money,
money.
and a Range Rover.
Yeah, it was a car and some money. So that's unfortunate that happened, but I'm glad that he's getting his trophy back. Especially with the new rules now, it makes no sense to have him punished for something that literally any other player can do now at this point. So this is righting a wrong. as
And
far as
the
I'm concerned.
dealership sent him a new vehicle too, so he gets his car
Nice.
back too. So.
Right. Stick taps for them.
I don't know if that's true. That's
Yeah. So the picture we have up is Reggie Bush holding the Heisman back when he won it in 2005. Yeah. Now the image is allowed to exist again. So
Was it taken off the
No, it wasn't
NFL?
he had
Off
he
the
had to
internet.
give it back.
he had to give his trophy.
I know
back.
he had to give it back, but
And then USC gave back the replica that was on their display. So they got their the USC got the replica back, and he got his back.
Yeah.
So everybody's whole again.
That's right. So now it's just Pete Carroll's college records. I think are probably next, depending on what they decide there. Whether he broke his rules differently or whatever. There's a lot of politics in college football with those
Absolutely.
kind of stuff. So
He's coming out of retirement. He's going to cut USC.
we'll see if they'll allow it. Right. Okay. So another note is Roger Goodell. I knew this was going to happen. He said he wants an 18-game schedule with the Super Bowl on President's Day weekend and only 2 preseason games. I knew this would happen. I said it years ago when they expanded to 17. I was like, 17 is just the stepping stone to get to 18, because having an uneven schedule does not make sense. So this is going to be able to balance out the schedule a little bit more. And I think this also could lead toward possible expansion as well. I think the league probably wants to get up to 36 teams, maybe is the next one. And
I kind of would be on board with this, but I have 2 cautionary things. If you're only going to do 2 preseason games, you're probably going to get a lot of injuries to start off a season. I could just see that happening right off the get-go.
right.
And I think if you're going to do an 18-game schedule, I think the Players Association should be fighting as hard as they can to get 2 bye weeks in that
Yeah.
schedule.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And those bye weeks have to be at least like 6 weeks apart.
Yeah.
They need to be pretty well spaced out. And if you were to do that, I think it makes the most sense to start the season on Labor Day weekend.
Sure. Yeah, I could see
you have
that.
that game before the Thursday game to open the season right before Labor Day. If that happens to be August 31st that year, I don't care. Who gives a shit? It's fine. And then, you have all the games through, the first weekend in September. Then the schedule actually works out perfectly if you have 2 bye weeks to like get yourself to the Super Bowl on what most people have in America. They'll have President's Day off if you have like a corporate type job or whatever. A lot of people have that day off. So it's a 3-day weekend. Super Bowl is on Sunday. nobody's really doing any work on that Monday anyway. Might as well give them that holiday, right? So
Absolutely.
I'm okay with it, honestly. I mean, as long as they get their 2 bye weeks that they definitely should get, it's fine. I'd see it happening, no problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then just the last note that I have on here is the NFL approved the soft shell Guardian caps for the 2024 season. So you're gonna see some players wearing these little soft hats that like have a ton of bumps in them, and it's just to help more prevention of head injuries and stuff like that. And they may look a little silly, but it is all in the name of player safety, right? I mean,
Who do you
this is a
think?
league that's pretending to care about player safety. So this is
They
why
They
should
should
do
take
it.
away just all pads and helmets and just return to leather heads. See what happens.
Yeah, I mean, that like let's honestly, there was actually somebody did a study about that, and
Probably less injuries.
it was a little bit less injuries because guys are using the plastic from the shoulder pads or the helmet as weapons, basically, right?
Right.
When
Oh,
they
of
try to
course.
tackle. Now you have to use your own body. You have to be a little bit smarter about it. I mean, you're going to have a lot more superficial injuries though, if you do that.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
more like cuts and scrapes and stuff.
What
You look at
position is
rugby players?
what position do you think is going to be the first one to break wearing a Guardian cap? I already have a position in mind. I think it's going to be
Like,
the
what do you mean break?
QB.
What do you mean break?
like who's going to be the first one to wear a Guardian cap? What position?
running
do you
back?
think?
I think it's going to be a running back of some kind.
I think it's going to be a kicker.
Nope.
Like somebody you would be like, yeah, it'd probably be
There's
you.
not a kicker or a punter that's going to be the first to do it. I promise you that. They're already barely part of the team.
Pat
they
McAfee
don't
would like
wanna-
to have a word with you.
Yeah, exactly. They're not going to be that guy. Like they'll need to see 4 or 5 other guys wearing the Guardian caps before they put one on. So, and even then, they don't really have to do that much. So, I could if I was a kicker or a punter, there's no fucking way I'm wearing a Guardian cap. I'm definitely not the first one to do it. Just because you're like I said, you're just asking to be a walking punching bag. It's probably going to actually be a quarterback. In all honesty, but I could see a running back. I could see a running back also do it though too. Like I said,
It'll be Herbert who'll be the first one.
maybe that'll help.
The kid needs to be in a bubble. All right. Moving on to the hardwood here.
Yep.
Vince, go ahead and give us our updates on the playoffs here.
Okay, so the in the Western Conference, the Thunder lead the Pelicans 3-0. The Clippers and Mavericks are tied 2 games apiece. The Timberwolves already swept the Suns. They're the first team to move on to the second round. And the Lakers and Nuggets, the Nuggets are up 3-1. That series probably should be 2-2, but the Nuggets have total control and they're playing tonight, I believe. So
yeah, I think the Lakers blew 2 games back to back.
Yeah.
They easily could have won. One of them being up like almost 20 points or something like that.
Yeah, they really shit the bed on that one. Right now in the Eastern Conference, the Celtics are up 2-1 on the Heat. Let's see, the Cavaliers and Magic, that's Bucks and Pacers. Indiana is leading that series 3-1, and the Knicks are up 3-1 over the 76ers. So, are the Knicks back? Is it happening? Is this a magical run?
I did see that game where Brunson just went off.
Yeah, he had 45 and the team's 98 points.
Yeah.
I just also want to point out too that I've been seeing a lot of in the news about it, I guess, or wherever media you want to go with here. But Embiid's really turning into this villain type of person now. I mean, he's they did some stat that he's had more flagrant fouls going back the last 5 years or something like that than Draymond Green has. They have highlights of him like literally pulling people's legs constantly and hurting players. Like he did hurt Robinson on the Knicks. You know, he had to leave the game with that knee injury. So, yeah, I don't know what turned or what, if this has always been this. We just didn't pay attention. I would imagine the Sixers is a big market team, so crazy that it's not really being talked about. But of course, ESPN doesn't really want to acknowledge it, right? But
right,
a lot of fans are really upset about how dirty Embiid's been playing, and I think it's gotten a lot more notice, and a lot more eyeballs are starting to watch
Yeah,
watch
well,
him.
they can't watch Draymond anymore, except
Yeah.
for on his podcast. So
Exactly.
so now they're looking for somebody else to be a villain at this point.
Oh, Draymond made sure he took that mantle back. Today he posted a video talking about the big soft man, talking all the smack. And well, that's it. That's all, folks. And that's what he said. Talking about Nurkic and all the shit that he was talking. And apparently you can't talk if you're not doing anything to contribute to help your team win a championship or even win a playoff game, as Draymond said in his podcast. So
Yes, absolutely. So this is obviously the first round of the NBA playoffs. So some of the riffraff is getting eliminated as we speak. The Suns surprisingly were riffraff. There was a lot of hype going into the season, because Kevin Durant was there with Booker, and it did not work out at all. So I'm wondering where does
Bradley
KD
Beal
go after this? Yeah, Bradley Beal as well.
that team had zero defensive presence.
Yeah,
Like I mean, they literally trade. Here's the best part: Bradley Beal is on the team to like 2028. Like they have no draft picks for like the next 3 years in the first round.
Literally only have 3 players that are tradable.
Yeah,
Kevin Durant, Booker, and Bradley Beal.
yeah,
Like that's the only contracts they are able to trade.
yeah. The new owner took over and immediately just tanked this whole entire organization to the ground.
Like, what do you do? Like, what do
There's
you
nothing
do
you
now?
can do.
Like
yeah,
you're-
they're just gonna have to wear it.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Let's see. Amazon Prime Video is nearing a 10-year deal for rights to NBA games. ESPN and ABC are expected to keep their rights, and so TNT and NBC are kind of battling to be the last partner spot. They're basically trying to go from 2 to 3 partners, and NBC really wants back in. TNT has held the rights for basketball since the beginning of the 80s. So, I'm kind of concerned we may be losing inside the NBA. What are Chuck and Shaq gonna do?
That show will be rebranded. If they lose the NBA, they're just gonna make a new show.
Yeah, they'll call it something else on whatever network. If NBC ends up getting it, maybe they go there. Maybe Amazon Prime forks over the money to have them host that one. But yeah, so I just. This is Amazon, they already got football. Apple TV has MLS, and they have like a Friday night baseball game every week as well. So this is just more streaming partners trying to get in on the business. This is NBC sees this as a way to also like expand Peacock a little bit more too. For the people that didn't get it for the NFL playoff game, So we'll see where it goes from there. This is the brave new world that we're all like super skittish about, but it's happening whether we like it or not at this point.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else for basketball, fellas?
I'm good. I got nothing else.
All right. So let's switch gears to soccer. Let's talk about our boys Wrexham wrapping up the season strong.
Yeah. There was a chance for Paul Mullen to get another goal in this last game, and he'd be like, don't quote me on this one because I haven't mistaken. I may be wrong here, but I think he'd be the first player to go back to back in the League One to EFL 2 for getting 25 goals in a season or something like that. So, fortunately, he didn't get it, but they did get a goal from good old Ollie Palmer and Andy Cannon. They go to win 2-1 against Stockport. At this point, it's just window dressing. They've already moved on to the EFL 1 here. But we do have a good tour coming up here in July. I don't remember where exactly they're starting. I think
they're going to start in Santa Barbara.
Okay, got it.
Burnham, right?
Yeah, so they'll be playing against Burnham, and then they'll be going up to Santa Clara, which I'd love to go see them, but unfortunately they put that wonderful game on a Wednesday. So thanks, guys.
It's going to be a little rough to get out there. Maybe
swing that one, yeah.
Maybe and then I can sneak out a little early from work. We'll see. I may have a tickle at 3 p.m. in my throat.
And then Canada gets a little taste here with Ryan Reynolds being the part owner of the team as well. They'll be playing in Vancouver. I did also want to point out, too, that there was this speculation of wondering what Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney was doing with the 5% stake, because they basically sold off 5% of Wrexham's stake, but they didn't know nobody knew what they had invested it in. Turns out that they invested it into a Mexican football club called Club Necaxa, I think is how you pronounce this, Necaxa. So I'm gonna go with Necaxa on that one. Also, ownership with that is oh my gosh, Eva Longoria. So
oh yeah, this is a top tier. They're in the top flight of Mexican soccer. So
yeah, so
trying to get a little bit more of that money internationally, you know.
Yeah, and maybe it opens up doors for them to be able to negotiate and see players in the Mexican league. But honestly, the Mexican league has kind of dipped down really far from what it used to be. I mean, it's probably even getting more aggressive than and falling farther and farther behind MLS, which is crazy to think, but it's happening.
Yeah, I don't know. They are falling a little bit. I do agree with that, but I think Mexican Soccer League is probably still a little bit better. At least, like, as a whole, the league is stronger than what MLS is, because you have dog shit teams like the Earthquakes pulling down the overall talent level of MLS.
I will say, I think John Fisher watches our show. I'm just saying, because they made the Earthquakes acquisition after acquisition after acquisition. They just did another one for a goalie today. I don't know what is happening, but they're getting players left and right. Did they hear something? What happened?
I don't know.
They don't want to be a laughing stock anymore?
Yeah, maybe Commissioner Garber actually like put in a call and said, "You got to actually try, you fucking idiot."
But are they good players?
Yeah, that's the next question. Are they actually good? We'll see. Right now, this past week, the Earthquakes actually got a draw at Nashville. So good on ya.
Yeah.
Sell the team.
They're still last place. They only have 4 points on the season. That was a lot of losses that they just took in a row, by the way. Their next upcoming game, they're playing at Levi's Stadium on Saturday against LA Football Club. So I think they're trying to rise the level. They're making a big push on that particular rivalry. I think there might be fireworks or something they're doing because it's the Cinco de Mayo game as well. So
fireworks. John Fisher doesn't know what that's like at his soccer team.
Yeah. We'll get into fuck John Fisher a little bit later in the show. Let's save that for now. Let's So just one more note on the Quakes. Actually, go ahead and throw this one up, Tim. The U.S. Open Cup coming up on May 7th at PayPal Park. The Earthquakes are going to be playing the Oakland Roots. You have a Bay Area matchup. These teams don't actually play in the same league. Oakland Roots are in USL. Earthquakes are in MLS. So they're two different levels. Oakland is in the lower level, but they're one of the better teams in the lower level. The Quakes are one of the more dog shit teams in the upper level. So could be a pretty close game. Could be interesting. We'll see what happens.
Just fire their head coach.
Yeah. The Roots did just, you're right. They did just make a change, as they said. They, all the pretty verbiage that goes along with that. The appreciate his service to the team for the last, 3 years or whatever it was. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I think it's just because they're kind of at the bottom of this league here. So
right. Well, they were a good team last year. Let me rephrase. They're maybe not doing quite so hot this year, but they are advancing in this U.S. Open Cup. So this game will be, if you're able to get down to San Jose on a Tuesday next week, it'd be a good chance to unite in two fan bases that do not like John Fisher.
Yeah.
Because even though John Fisher doesn't own the Oakland Roots, obviously they play in a city that is very familiar with that bad man. So
trying to play in that stadium where he owns another team in the Oakland A's.
Yeah, exactly. So Oakland Roots fans are very, very well aware of who that prick is. So that's going to be a fun one to have, just two teams that, they're not really all that connected except for this one thing. Nothing like hate to unify a fan base, right? In a region.
Absolutely.
I love this for us. This is going to be a beautiful time to get together and to just as one say, fuck John Fisher, or cleaner versions of that Fisher out, whatever fun little chants they come up with at the game. That's going to be fun to see. So. All right, so that brings us to Bay FC and the NWSL. So they Bay FC, they took the loss again at San Diego Wave. Oshuala got her second goal. Kayla Sharples actually took a header off of the post crossbar. It falls right to Oshuala's feet, and she cleans up the loose change in the 48th minute. It was a very nifty, fun moment, and that actually tied the game because San Diego scored in the 14th minute. But late in the game, San Diego gets the second goal, 78 minutes in. They end up losing 2-1. And so their current record is 2 wins, 4 losses, no draws. So there's your standings up there. They're currently 10th in the NWSL, but they're only if they win one of these last 4 losses, they're up in 6th. Like they're right there. They're basically one game out of a playoff spot as it stands right now. It's still early enough in the season, and this league is chaotic enough, and they have the goal scorers to do it. It's just, getting them feeling right or whatever. It's because goal scorers can be kind of finicky sometimes. It's just, if things aren't right, it just doesn't happen. Sometimes you get a little bad puck luck, to use a hockey term. But yeah, so I'm still reasonably confident that they could turn this around. They got 2 games coming up this week. They're playing Wednesday versus the Portland Thorns. That's at 7 p.m. if you can get down to San Jose on a Wednesday. And then Sunday on Cinco de Mayo, they're playing the Chicago Red Stars at 5 p.m. So that's a little bit more reasonable. A Sunday 5 p.m. kickoff. If you can make that, that'd be kind of fun. Right now, every home game Bay FC has played so far, they've definitely outsold what the San Jose Earthquakes are doing, and they're playing in the same stadium. So this is a grand opportunity to get in on the excitement anyway. Whether they're winning or losing, a lot of goals are being scored. It's a lot of fun to watch. So maybe they get a draw for the first time in their existence. They haven't had a draw yet. We'll see what happens.
So what's this breaking news? Mexico, USA. Hit me with this here. I'm not privy to this.
Continuing with the women's soccer portion of the show. Mexico and USA had a joint bid to host the 2027 Women's World Cup. They still haven't picked that yet. It's the next one. I mean, the men's side, they've picked all the way out to like 2030. So they got the next 2 picked out already. But the women's side, they're
3 years from now.
Yeah, exactly. So they're expecting to make an announcement on May 17th. It will the 2027 will go to either Brazil or a combined bid between Germany, the Netherlands, and Belgium. And then so basically Mexico and USA's joint bid, they're going to try to go for 2031 instead. Gives them a little bit more time, a little bit more distance between the 2026 Men's World Cup. You get 5 years instead of 1 year trying to basically do the same thing. It lets you space it out a little bit better. I think they felt their bid was going to be a little bit more stronger and a little bit more ready to roll, get everything lined up if you wait for the following one and let it go elsewhere for 2027. So that's that news broke earlier today. I just saw that and I was like, I got to at least mention it, throw it on the pod, on the show doc, So yeah.
That's crazy. That's 3 years out. I mean, that's usually nation's time to start planning everything they possibly need to plan for. So
right, qualifying for the for that World Cup begins after the Olympics. And the Olympics are in July, so I mean they don't even have a location for the next World Cup for the women's side. FIFA is just really they sat on their ball sacks on this, man. It's so fucking stupid that they keep ignoring this part of the game that is growing leaps and bounds. A lot of people are excited about it. Fucking three fucking Joe Schmoes are talking about women's soccer. This is this is a time that the league is starting to grow in America and around the world, really. Like, I mean, the Super League over in England, they're drawing crazy crowds over there too. And
I mean, in a smaller scale, but it's still growing. Wrexham women's team is one of the best teams in Wales. I mean,
yeah,
it's growing everywhere. So
Rosie Hughes is a superstar now because of the
she's player of
documentary
the
and then
year.
her play. Yeah.
Yeah, she's player of the year for Wrexham. So
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so this is a wasted opportunity by FIFA, and they need to get their shit together. So they're expected to name on May 17th. So in 3 weeks or so, they're gonna name where the next Women's World Cup is gonna be. I would want to believe that they want to get 2031 also named because they already have 2030 named for the men's side. You want to try to keep pace with that. So I don't think it's going to be like the next day or anything like that, but I would hope by the end of the year, they would have the next 2 Women's World Cups in place.
Yeah.
I would hope. But
Yeah, same.
this is FIFA. They always, what's the worst way to do something, and then they find an even worse way to do that thing. So we'll see how it actually goes.
In the most corrupt way too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm not going to hold my breath for it, but I'll tell you what, if I was running the show, it'd be a lot different and I'd be a lot richer.
I know. I wouldn't take as many bribes.
I know, right? I would cut the bribes in half, man. You're too fucking obvious with it, Jesus.
Maybe not wear the blood diamonds around your neck. Maybe hide it in your shirt.
Yeah, leave that for the special private functions. You don't want to wear that to the to the fucking vote. Jesus.
Oh man. Well, I want to get into this because I'm absolutely excited. Obviously, our team is not in the playoffs when it comes to hockey here, but
we got a Stanley Cup date. It's been a year. It's been a year. I can say it again. We got a Stanley Cup date. All right.
I am loving playoff hockey. I don't know about you, but I've been telling people left and right. It seems like it's a lot more chippy than it has been in quite some time. Like I feel like every single time I watch a game, there's always a fight, and it's not one guy. It's like the whole team against the other team every single time.
Yeah, I mean, part of this is a few years ago they changed the playoff format so that way it's the top 3 teams in each division and then 2 wildcard teams play in like 1 quarter of the bracket, right? And so each division has basically their own little like mini playoff to get to the conference finals. And so you really like teams that play each other a lot. You start familiarity breeds contempt is the phrase I'm looking for. And so when you see this team 4 or 5 times every year in the regular season, and then you play them in the playoffs, and just things really start to get heated. Like you said, they get chippy, they get angry. They're willing to cross-check each other a little more. Slashes here and there. Just take a hack at a guy here and there. Just because you're pissed off, you're tired of seeing his stupid fucking face. But also like the skill is really on top too, because these are obviously the best teams in the world playing for the toughest trophy to win. So this is playoff hockey is at its best, especially after we get out of this first round when the riffraff is gone, like I said. But so just real quick, Florida is beating Tampa Bay 3-1. It's a best of 7 series, so you get to 4 and you're on to the next one. Boston is on top, is 3-1 over Toronto right now. The Rangers already swept Washington. This is the first time that Alex Ovechkin did not score a point in a playoff round.
Yeah.
He's 40 years old.
He didn't even get an assist in the last game. He went donut across the board.
Donut for all 4 games. He did not get a point in the entire series. That's rough, man. That's I think he probably held on about a year too long, if I'm being totally honest.
I also would love to point out, as you're talking about old man, Jaromir Jagr just scored in the European League, the Czech league that he's playing in. So, and he's Jagr, 70 years old at this point.
He scores a goal and then slams a mug full of Metamucil and then goes out and plays again.
Love it.
Oh man, Benefiber to the.
What is it? He can't go to the Hall of Fame until he's like done playing. So he's like not in the Hall of Fame because he's still playing or some crazy shit.
I have to look that up. But
I think I read something that he like retired and then he was going to be eligible, but then he came out of retirement to play in this league, and now he can't go to the Hall of Fame because he's still playing.
He's still racking up points and stuff.
Right.
Overseas. Yeah. If he had held on to that retirement,
That's
flag
what I've
every
heard.
year.
I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I'll have
much
to take a
about
look in that, but obviously he's an all-time great, and
he's a legend, man.
he's still doing it in Europe. Maybe that's where Ovi goes, is to continue the career. He goes and plays over in Europe, in the Swedish league or something. Carolina is up 3-1 on the New York Islanders. Winner of that matchup gets to play the Rangers, who are already waiting. In the Western Conference, Dallas and Vegas. Vegas is up 2-1. Colorado is up 3-1 on Winnipeg, and those two winners will play each other. And then you have Vancouver up 3-1 over Nashville, and Edmonton is up 3-1 over the LA Kings. Suck it, Kings. But congrats on your good season, whatever, blah, 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 blah.
I will say my shockers this season, I maybe I haven't watched enough of it, but I really didn't think Vancouver. I mean, I guess Nashville just isn't as strong, but I really didn't think that Vancouver was this poised.
No, they got a lot of good breaks this year. A lot of things went right their way, and I mean, I think a lot of people thought that they were a playoff contender to start the year. I don't think anybody had them winning the division. That this division was Vegas's to win, basically.
Pretty much.
Stanley Cup champions, but
yeah.
So Vegas kind of hobbled into the playoffs, but they're getting healthy again, and that's why they're up 2-1 on Dallas right now.
It hurts so bad seeing Tomas Hertl with the assisting on a goal. Oh god,
yeah,
that
so one stung, and he's playing Joe Pavelski's team too, so it's like two of my all-time favorite Sharks, like two of my 5 all-time favorites, and they're playing against each other, and neither of them are on the Sharks, and it's not fun, man. I'll tell you that. I am straight up not having a good time.
And then you got Bernsey down there in Carolina about to do his thing against the Islanders. So I feel it, man. I feel it.
This is Edmonton being a playoff team. Everybody expected that. LA Kings are, I mean, I think that was a reasonable, like, we could see that was a possibility as well. So the real surprise was Vegas barely sneaking in. And like I said, it was the injuries that did them in, why they were barely able to get here. But now they're healthy again, just in time. This is very reminiscent to me of the 2009 Sharks, who were the President's Trophy winners, and the Ducks, the Anaheim Ducks got healthy just as the playoffs started. So a team that if they were healthy all year, they probably would have been a 3 seed or something like that. Like, they would have been pretty high up, but they were the 8th seed because they lost too many games because they were injured the entire season. They get healthy. They beat the Sharks in 6 games, 8 seed over 1 seed. That's another embarrassing one that has happened to Sharks fans. So,
I mean, we don't talk about Bruno, but the LA Kings one was probably the worst one.
Yeah, that one's the worst. The reverse sweep. But yeah. So speaking of the Sharks, they did fire David Quinn after 2 seasons. Unfortunately, when you're the 4th worst team and then followed up with the 1 worst team, the 1st worst team, I think he didn't get a fair shot, really. And I think he'll probably land as an assistant somewhere for a couple years, and then he'll get another crack at a head coaching job somewhere else.
I'm just surprised that the Barracudas head coach didn't get fired, because I feel like the talent pool that was coming through and how they were being.
John McCarthy is his name, yeah.
Yeah, I really, if you were going to ask anyone, I mean, David Quinn was his guy, but John McCarthy, honestly, I don't think he's doing this team a service at all. I think he's doing a disservice, to be frankly honest with you. There's a lot of people that are upset with him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I think because they did freshen up the talent pool at the AHL level big time with all these trades, with Tomas Hertl getting traded, and now you got the draft coming up. Let's go ahead and throw that picture up, the draft odds, Tim. So basically the Sharks have the best shot at landing the number 1 overall pick. When you look at this graphic, you're going to see that the Sharks have an 18.5% chance to win, I believe. But there's a little twist in the way the NHL does their draft. A team can only move up 10 spots total. So if you're a team sitting in 12th through 16th, you can't move up to the number 1 overall spot. You can only go to 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, right?
Right.
So if you're so the Sharks basically, if one of those teams wins the draft lottery, the Sharks still keep the number 1 overall pick because they can't get in front of the Sharks. So that's kind of, yeah, it's a little bit weird.
But there's still a chance that,
Yeah.
like, if Chicago wins this again, I swear
Yeah.
to God, I'm gonna throw something.
I'm gonna be very upset. But so the Sharks in total, when you add up the percentage chances of actually winning,
It's like
the
24
draft
and a half.
lottery, it's 25.5%.
25 and a half.
So,
Yep.
so the graphic says the Sharks are 18.5% likely to win the draft lottery, and that's true. But they're 25.5% likely to win the number 1 overall pick. It's a little confusing, but it's, it just means that the Sharks have a 1 in 4 shot at being the number 1 overall pick. And unfortunately, as much as I want to say that it's rigged if they don't win, I know that it's not, because of the Coyotes situation. When the NHL owned that team, I would think that they would have wanted to try to get the Coyotes a better draft pick than what they ended up getting every time, even though they were a dog shit team as well at that time. So I just feel like if they were going to rig it for anybody, they would have rigged it for the team that they owned at the time.
That would have been too obvious. Too obvious.
They didn't. You're right. It goes back to the bribery team thing. You're right. I stand down. No, I just unfortunately it would just really be a kick in the nuts if the Sharks don't win this draft lottery. They got screwed out of the number 1 overall pick when they entered the league as an expansion team in 1991. So what happened here? That was the Eric Lindros year. Eric Lindros was going to be a Shark, but because of basically that was really weird. I'll do it real quick on this one. Okay, so the Sharks were San Jose was granted an expansion team, but it was basically being split up from the Minnesota North Stars. Okay, so it was basically one franchise being split in two. So half of the team stays in Minnesota, the other half goes to San Jose. And then they have an expansion draft with the other 20 teams in the league. So each team gets 10 more players from the rest of the league. And so that's kind of how both of those teams filled out the rest of the roster. And then because the league was pissed off at the way the Guns manufactured their way into San Jose by like splitting up the North Stars, that the only way that they would let them do like basically move half of the Minnesota North Star players is by not letting them have the number 1 overall pick. They ended up picking second that year. So they did not get Eric Lindros. Therefore, the franchise was really bad for the first 2 years until that miracle run in 1994, right when they opened up San Jose Arena. So there you go. There's your quick, brief, very brief. I left out a lot of stuff, but there's your history lesson for the day.
All I'm saying is that Mark Celebrini is the Warriors team doctor. Let's just bring it home, boys. Let's bring his son to San Jose and let's get Celebrini.
Let's
bring it home.
That's right. Okay.
When do we have the date for the lottery? Do we know?
Yeah, so the lottery draft is on May 7th. So
wow.
So it's the same day as that US Open soccer game. So if you happen to be going to that game, maybe just have it on your phone, just see where the Sharks are, picking before the games kicks off. I believe that they'll do the draft lottery before that though. So if you're on your way down there, you'll find out.
Sweet.
Yeah, so a lot of excitement, even though the Sharks aren't in the playoffs. There's a lot of things cooking. So we'll see next Tuesday what actually happens and whether I'm mad or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that ends hockey talk.
Hockey.
So here we go. Let's throw up the next image. It's time. People have been asking, and it is answered. We the Oakland A's fan groups, the Oakland 68s and the Last Dive Bar, they are throwing another reverse boycott. This time it'll be on Friday, June 7th. And so basically that'll be the another chance to come and unite as a fan base and show that, the fan base still exists. I believe there's several people who've been on the subject, including Damon Amendolara is coming out from the East Coast. He's coming to the games. So if you're up for it, go and show the man a good time. Let's pack the house and just, unite against a really shitty owner now let's really rip into this asshole. Go ahead, somebody else. I need a breather.
No, we're getting we're already securing our tickets, so we're going to be going to the game. I got a flag. I still got my Cells shirt from last year. It's really hard for me to go to like a regular game and just watch baseball because I can't even watch the sport right now just because I get so angry.
Mhm.
So
I get
one,
that.
this is going to be a way to show up, have fun, but also protest the owner because he should sell the team. He should sell the Earthquakes to an owner that's actually going to be a steward and care about the team and provide competition. We're into these franchises and we want to support them because of competition. You want to compete and players want to compete. Owners should want to compete. And this is just a zero competition owner. He doesn't want to do anything. So like do something with the product. He should not be allowed to own a team.
Yeah,
Amen.
Perfectly
Yeah.
agree.
Mm-hmm.
I have not secured my tickets yet, but I will make sure I get that deal taken care of here. And I'm excited to get out there, man. If I get a chance to see David out there, I want to definitely see if I can buy him a Teddy Bruschi,
Yeah. So this, like we said, this is the moment. This is the time. Get excited for one game. I mean, a lot of people are just boycotting the entire season, and I get it. I'm with you. I'm doing that for sure. But
I do want to.
How many innings have you guys seen of A's baseball?
3.
I've seen 3 outs, and not like in a row. Like I flipped over, saw 1 out, and then changed the channel, and then like a few days later, I think I clicked.
I don't think I've seen a complete inning. I have not seen an inning.
I've seen 3 total outs, is what I'm saying.
Sometimes I see like home runs and strikeouts because they're in my Twitter feed. Mm-hmm. Like I saw the strikeouts in New York. I saw the home run against Baltimore. And that was it. Like I haven't seen anything, dude.
I will say this. I mean, as much as we want to shit on John Fisher, the team itself is they're playing their damn hearts out. They're not as bad as maybe a lot of pundits put them out.
Yeah,
rightfully so. But
we're in the part of the movie Major League where they go, these guys ain't so fucking bad.
Yeah, I mean, you could be you could be Miami right now. Like they're god awful down there. So I want to give the kids a little bit of praise because
I'm watching the feed a little bit here. I'm sorry to cut you off, but Tim just put up a Twitter that I sent him earlier. This is a Sell the Flag tour. So fans are sending the Sell flag to various people, and this is actually a military. So some folks from the military are holding up the Sell flag. If you have a good vision, you can see there. That's from Last Dive Bar, and whoever took the photo is on there too. But I think there's another one too, Tim. Right?
I remember seeing the post of like soccer teams in England. Like holding up the Sell flag. Like this is we're going worldwide, baby.
It showed up. There's a flag that's doing a Major League Tour where
there it is.
It's being autographed. So it went to Baltimore and it's autographed by some of the Baltimore fans that are supporting. So there's 2 flags making their ways around Major League Baseball right now.
Love it. Love that.
So there's a lot of work being put in.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna go to the game. I don't know if I can do it because my story ended rather perfectly, but I'll see how I'm feeling as I get closer to the day, and I'll decide at that point. But
yeah, I feel you.
At this point, I don't know if I can do it, but we'll see. My dad just chimed in and said that he's probably seen 5 to 6 innings of A's baseball so far at this point. So yeah, this is tough. The team isn't quite dog shit as we thought they were, but like I can't stomach watching it right now.
The A's play-by-play for the TV, Jenny
Cavanaugh.
She is getting absolutely. I know there's some old tweets that are popping up.
I know she's getting killed on social media right now.
But currently, she's getting absolutely killed, and it's not It has nothing to do with sexism at all. She's just not a good.
She's not that
They're gonna
good.
play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's not that good.
She's
But
not good.
I'm not going to sign a petition asking for somebody's job. Like,
No,
she's
not
not
gonna
that
do that.
good.
Yeah, maybe she's getting better too, though.
she's-
As we go, we'll see.
Right.
Yeah, but again, the kids.
Funny story.
their
When
heart
the
out, man.
first time they had Vince Cotroneo on the radio, I didn't like Vince Cotroneo. Now it's like, leave him the fuck alone. Nobody touch him.
Right? Yeah, exactly. You get
I'm not
used to
gonna lie.
people like
Right.
That's kind of how I am still a little bit with Rick Tittle. When he was after the post games, I was like, man, this guy is wanting to put me to sleep after an
Robert
exciting
Ball,
game I just
man.
watched.
It's all about Robert Bwan.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So we got one other like sports related note before we get to the memes of the week.
yeah,
Um, Yeah, go ahead. dive in.
I did some reading into this one, and I couldn't find if the additional rules are being applied. I think they've been removed. But the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul's fight is now a sanctioned fight that will affect their career boxing records. So I don't know what that means in regards to Mike Tyson. I don't know if he cares about his record at this point. But it certainly adds a little bit of interest into this fight that was already piquing some interest for some people anyways. I did not read that they either added or removed, kept or removed that the Paul brothers could tag each other out. I would assume now that it's a sanctioned fight, that would be removed. I don't think Mike Tyson would want to affect his record having to try to fight two people at the same time. So, but we shall see.
I think we're all hoping Tyson knocks the shit out of this fool.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
what we're all like really rooting for. We want like if we turn this fucker on Netflix, we want like in the third round, we want to see Jake Paul sprawled out on the fucking mat,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
I
no
wanna see
longer.
him
This is a no
starfishing.
way. This is a no way that Tyson. If Paul beats him, it's like, dude, you beat up a 60-year-old man. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if Tyson wins, it's like, damn, you got beat up by a 60-year-old Mike Tyson.
So
Yeah.
what this means now is it not being an exhibition. The 3 minutes is gone. The 3-4 minutes. It's now 8-minute rounds, and they're going all the way to the tape. So I'm just saying.
I
Mike
kind of want to
Tyson-
watch it. I ain't gonna lie, I
want to
want
see
to watch
Starfish
it.
o'clock for Jake Paul. That's what I want.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
curious.
so we'll figure out how we're gonna watch that together. I'm sure.
Yeah,
in the,
of course.
like as it gets closer, we'll figure that out because now I'm excited. Now that it's real and not Mickey Mouse fucking rules. Yeah, now I'm
Yep.
excited. Okay. So, gentlemen, there are 3 memes I have for meme of the week. The first one, Tyler, I'm taking a little mini shot at you, but
Okay.
Ooh.
but it's fine. It's really not that bad. So right now, basically, it's a couple of Eagles players, and it says they're calling Reed Blankenship and Cooper DeJean the Eagles' secondary, Dairy, D-A-I-R-Y.
Wow. Wow.
So let's throw that one up for the people at home, Tim, and then we're good there. All right. So, what do you think about that? was good.
You know what? It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little, a little roasted gently with care. It's like coffee, right?
It's cool. My new safety is going to be on the team white now. So I love what we got here going on here. All you need is what was I forget? The Eagles had a wide receiver, and I'm drawing a blank on this right now.
Riley Cooper. He was
that's all you
dropping
need to add
N-bombs
to
at
this
a
mix,
country
right?
concert. Yeah, fuck that guy.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy sucked. But yeah, I remember that guy. Okay, so now second place for meme of the week is the Dallas Cowboys draft room. God, they made some really stupid fucking moves, didn't they? Moves that we don't understand. Ezekiel Elliott is back. Worse than
Sweet.
ever.
You got a guy
after
who
a year
averaged 3
in
yards
New England.
and averaged more turnovers than he did receiving or running touchdowns.
Yeah, that guy. He's back. Run it back, right? Run it back with Zeke. So here's your Cowboys draft room. The top picture is the actual draft room. The lower one is, of course, Dr. Evil. There it is.
Oh, love it.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
love it.
Okay. And then your number one meme of the week is actually Kirk Cousins based. Okay. So let's go ahead and throw that up right now. Now that the Falcons drafted a quarterback with the 8th pick, they can trade Kirk Cousins to a quarterback needy team like the Vikings. Can you imagine Justin Jefferson with a guy like Kirk Cousins? I already photoshopped this, what he would look like in a Vikings jersey for you. And then the first comment underneath is someone said, I didn't realize Atlanta was in Alabama because they just fucked Cousins. Bodied. Get bodied. Oh,
That's great.
all right. So there's your memes of the week. Yeah, it's trying that out, trying a little bit different format. I like the idea of meme of the week, and I'm trying to tinker with it and see if we can make it work. All right. Good work. Thank you, Tim.
Memes. Send in the
Thank you,
memes.
Tim.
Yeah, if you find some good memes, tag us in it at SVT Sports Pod, and we'll put the best ones up. Yeah, there I'm just watching the 20-second delay, so there's me shaking my fists in victory.
Well,
And that's it for me, I guess.
well, everyone's got to stay tuned to next week too, because we got something good in store for you guys. Got a little mini game, and anyone in the chat is welcome to participate as well too. If I think we'll have that kind of lined up here next week. Vince is hashing this all out here for us, but stay tuned for next week. Definitely,
It's gonna be fun. We got a little game, little gamey game.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Well, anything else for the docket of the order here, guys?
good to the order is all good here.
All right, alrighty.
Later,
Who
y'all.
wants to close this out? Who wants to
I'll
close
close
this out?
this out.
Yeah,
You
go ahead and do
are
it.
listening to the SVT podcast. Subscribe on YouTube and hit the bell to get alerts when we go live. Follow us on Instagram and Threads at SVT Sports Pod. Slide to our DMs. We would love to interact with all you beautiful people. Like and subscribe.
That's right.